Welcome to episode 4 of Work in Progress. In this episode, I am sculpting Lil Conk. His name is Lil Conk, and I'm making him into a 3D character. This little guy is going to be just cute as fuck. And I will probably make this guy into a playable character. I'm making a game, did you know that? I am. It's gonna be so fucking awesome. Yeah, just sculpting some legs right now. Sculpting legs. Legs is not the easiest. They gotta look like the picture, according to me, and they gotta look like real legs. Um, yeah, sometimes I do this little trick where I take one thing I already modeled slash sculpted, and I will just duplicate it. Duplicate it, and then just and not have to do as much work later. That is just cool. That's just very nice. It's called a few mushrooms at this point. I really like the method of taking a cube and applying a subdivision surface modifier, or at least adding it, but not applying it immediately, because you get to have a low poly version and a high poly version, and that just makes it easier to keep the version low poly for as long as possible. Um, yeah, maybe you've seen this in the video. Probably you have if you're watching. It is it's a much faster way to model things than to try and in the beginning you try to go into sculpt mode. If you know nothing, you'll try to go into sculpt mode and just fuck around, but yeah, that doesn't really work out well. Okay, making some dots on a thing. I tried to do it with planes, but planes didn't really work. I think maybe I've just gotten so used to the subdivision surface modifier that I just use that on a cube and just go from there for anything that needs modeling, which is fine. I like that approach. For some things, I try to find new ways because it's not always perfect, that method. Hmm. So yeah, just going around. While making this guy, I figured out a few things, became more familiar with a few things like the fact that if you rotate stuff in edit mode, you don't keep you don't keep the origin where you want it, and you don't keep the origin where you want it. So when you then want to grab it in a certain direction, move it in a certain direction, that doesn't really work out very well. But if you go into options, maybe this is just an object mode, I don't remember right now, but if you go into options, you can click origins, and then you can change your origins to align with the object's rotation, which is very handy, so that if you do make a mistake and you fuck with the origins, you can always just go into options and change it back. So that's nice. Less time. What else is going on? Yeah, a lot of progress with my Blender skills from when I started like a year ago. Happy to see that. In the beginning, it was a very high poly models that looked like shit, which is what you would expect, right? Never actually did finish the donut tutorial, guide, course, whatever, by that guy on YouTube who makes those Blender videos. But I did do some of it, so that's better. I really wanted to just keep working on these guys and figure a lot of stuff out for myself. Because there is such a thing as tutorial hell, where you are just copy pasting what's being told in the tutorial without figuring it out for yourself. And in my experience, you will learn a lot more by figuring out for yourself. Of course, getting some theory in is important, but you then have to put it into practice. And so, yeah, that's what's happening here. Camera, get some animation going. This is a basic model. It's a very basic model. Just the concept 3D version from that 2D image I'm using from for reference. And yeah, you can have an image of the guy in the scene so you can see where it came from. And so this is a different part. Like if you're using a reference image, some things some things can't be modeled after the reference. Like in this case, I can't see what's in the back of the hat, but it looks wrong that there are only dots on the front side because you aren't going to only be able to see the front side. So I just copied some dots from the front side, put on the back side, and changed them up a little bit. And I think the result was pretty nice. Here I am putting the picture in again. And just a plane to present the character. It's just a plane extruded upwards and beveled so it looks nice. Oh, a little animation. Um, just a sort of rotating Lazy Susan type animation. Gotta make sure if you wanna loop animation, you gotta change the interpolation mode from whatever it is standard, and you need to change that to linear because then it would play linear instead of wonky, which is what you don't want if you want it to loop seamlessly. Just putting some basic materials on here, just standard one dimensional colors. Making some pupils for the guy so he can see what's going on around him. Yeah. I could have saved some time here by, well, not sure I could somehow. I'm not really sure how. I don't have to talk all the time. Maybe now we just watch as I make those edges kind of things that are around the eyes. What would you call those? I don't know. Edges. Making them look like the picture, because that's what I want. Oh yeah, and all of the objects are parented by or to and empty. So that way I get to move everything along